We're going to have a look at solving quadratic equations. So last week, we had a look at some tools or some methods already. So we've been looking at factorize, yeah? Factorize. So our form is something times something. Then we also had a look at complete square. So today we're going to have a look at our final method or tool available in solving quadratic equations, which is the famous quadratic formula. Which later on, when we come to example, you'll say this particular method will work in every example, whereas those two is just for some questions. So before we do that, I'm going to write down here. So ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. In the investigation task, some of you we've already seen this style, yeah? Ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So what are we going to do today is we're going to derive the quadratic formula. So what's the coefficient of x squared at the moment? A, yeah? And in some of the questions you've already seen last week, what's the coefficient of x squared there? 1. Yeah? If it's 1, it's much easier to solve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide. How can I change the coefficient of x squared becomes 1? I'm going to divide everything by a. Excellent. So let's do that. Divided by a, I get that. Yeah? I'm going to divide everywhere by a. People happy with that step? What I've done is divided everywhere by a. The purpose is I want the coefficient of x squared becomes 1. So this step I've achieved what I want. Then later on, next step I'm going to use the complete square method. Complete square last week, just give people a hint. Complete square, if I had something like this last week, what would you do there last week? I divided by 2 and I square that. Yeah? So same thing here. So the coefficient of that is this one. I divided by 2, what do I get? What's b over 2 and half that? B over 2 and we half that. It's just b over 2a. Right? So let's half that. Is that okay? Just like completing square last week. So I've halved that again this time. So by doing that, I have introduced this square. Remember last week? I have introduced that term. So last week we've said we've introduced this term. When you square that term, we get b squared over 4a squared. Is that okay, guys? Yeah? So we've plus that term, we need to minus that term. Minus b squared 4a squared. That term I'm going to copy down. Okay, then just going to continue. Then I'm going to move everything to the right hand side. Move that, negative becomes positive. Move that becomes negative. Then going to find the common denominator of those two. So it's 4a squared b squared over 4a squared. The common denominator between this and this is 4a squared. That's 4a squared already. Just copy it down. Then I'm going to make that 4a squared. What have I done? Become from here to here. I have multiplied by 4a. Therefore, on the top, I also multiply by 4a. It becomes 4ac. Yes? Okay. Now, on the right-hand side, got 4a squared b squared minus 4ac. Are people happy with that?
Yep.
All it is denominator the same, I subtract the top. Yeah? What is this? What is that? On the left hand side, you've got something square equal to that. So when you have this, what do you do?
Square root.
Plus minus, yeah? Plus minus square of the right hand side. Yes?
Yep.
So I just do plus minus square root the right hand side. Yeah? But out of all this, what I'm looking for? I'm looking for x. Yeah? So anything not relevant to x, I'm going to move to the right hand side. Positive becomes negative. We're almost there. Plus minus. Now this thing, we know from thirds, we know that is just separate the top and the bottom, right? On the top, I can't do much. I just write down. On the bottom, just 2a, right? This simplified, just 2a. Is that okay? So 2a. On the top, I copy down. Denominator 2a, denominator the same, just plus the top together. Minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac. This is our famous quadratic formula.